The story of this universe's Peter Parker starts out like most others. He gets bitten by a radioactive spider and gains the powers of Spider-Man. But when the thief he refused to stop kills Uncle Ben instead of merely capturing him, Peter decides never again to let an innocent person suffer because of his actions and executes the criminal. A Daily Bugle photographer was at the scene, and Peter ends up in the paper as the punishing spider. He doesn't mind the name and vows that no innocents will be harmed when it's within his power to stop them by any means necessary, even if others vilify him for it. He starts working for J. Jonah Jameson, taking pictures of himself catching criminals. At first, he doesn't kill them, but the villains kept coming back, each time more vicious and dangerous, with the Goblin being the most persistent. Peter decides that he needs to do more in order to stop these psychopaths from endangering innocents, and so he designs a small caliber chain gun with multiple different kinds of ammo that attaches to his web shooters. He decides to test out his new weaponry, first on the Sinister 6. He fries Electro with EMP-powered rounds. Then he destroys Craven with explosive rounds. He kills Mysterio with his hands and uses incendiary rounds to turn Sandman into glass, and then shatters him. He rips Vulture's wings power source off his back and lets him fall to his death. Finally, with armor-piercing rounds, he destroys Doc Ock's arms and easily disposes of him. He feels slightly guilty about making money from the photos of the Sinister Six's deaths. Slightly, criminal activity in New York nosedived, and Peter spent less time as the Punisher, as he was now called. He went to college, where he met Harry Osborn as well as Gwen Stacy, whom he immediately fell for. They started dating, and Peter spent less and less time as the Punisher. But the Green Goblin still remained a thorn in Peter's side. In a dramatic confrontation, the Goblin reveals his identity to Peter after he has stolen his wrist weapon, but Peter still manages to outdo him, crashing the walls down on him. As Norman Osborn snaps out of his Goblin persona, Peter feels too bad for him and decides to leave him alive. But slowly, Norman is driven to madness once again, and Peter comes home to find a disturbing message. The Goblin has kidnapped Gwen Stacy. He rushes across town to find him dangling Gwen off a building. He tells Peter that in order to save her, he has to remove his wrist shooters and throw himself off the building. Instead, Peter shoots the Goblin in the heart multiple times, with ammo specially designed to penetrate his armor. The Goblin falls off the roof, but Gwen also plummets towards the ground. Just in time, Peter grabs Gwen by her leg and tries to set her down safely onto a webbing he instinctually built on a piece of scaffolding. But there is no pulse. She is not breathing. Peter does CPR, which miraculously brings Gwen back, who is shocked and angry that the Punisher is actually his boyfriend. Later, Peter visits Gwen in the hospital, where they reconcile. He realizes that becoming a vigilante only resulted in escalating cycles of violence and rips up his suit, giving up the Punisher persona so he can concentrate on being a good boyfriend and perhaps one day a good husband. In the end, he chose a path of love, not vengeance,